Alright guys, here are all the tools that you're going to need to complete this job. I'm going to run through these really super quick. First things first, be safe, wear some gloves, wear some safety goggles. These are important things. You're going to deal with a lot of chemicals, a lot of dust, so a face mask wouldn't hurt either. I have good ventilation where I'm working at, but these are going to really protect you because a lot of hot plastic and fiber flying at you while you're cutting, and you're putting a lot of force into this, so some knuckle busting activities, and you're using sharp objects and tools as well. And let's just jump right in on what those sharp tools are. I use tin snips. This is perfectly acceptable to cut the bumper, and by the bumper I'm talking about the front of the vehicle. Cuts really well with the tin snips. This was super easy to use. Definitely a great tool, made life easy. However, the filler plate, not so much. Absolutely could not cut this with the tin snips. This won't even begin to cut this material, so it's a no-go, and you're going to have to back up and go power tool route. I'm a huge fan of my Dremel Micro because it's wireless. You can use whatever rotary tool that you want, and I wanted to show you a couple of the bits that I used that work best for me. You can use whatever works for you, but these were the couple that worked best for me. So out of my bits, these two, hopefully you can see these two, these are the two that I used. And so this is basically a mini cutting wheel, just like you would put on a big grinder, big cutting wheel, but you need something small. This is about 1.5 inches in diameter, and you know, you're getting into a tight space, especially when you start cutting on the bumper. This was really useful in the small space. I don't know what you call this thing. It is cone shaped and it has teeth. It looks like a mini jet turbine. This thing was the sauce. Hopefully, if you're a Dremel user, you know, maybe you can comment and tell me what the name of this bit is. It came in my bit kit, and I don't know if you can see this, but I'm trying to put it in different angles so that you can see the shape and see how this thing works. But this was the sauce. This is exactly what I used to put into the Dremel tool and cut out around the edge of the filler plate. Okay, so this is the tool that I used to cut. And a couple of quick tricks on this. You know, your rotary tool spins in a direction, and so as you cut, when you start to cut, what you want to do is you want to throw out these long ends towards the scrap piece that you're going to throw away. You want the smooth end of the cut to be the part of the filler plate that you're going to keep, and you will figure that out quickly. When I went through the process, I figured it out in the first inch. If you look at my cut here, you can see really smooth right here. Okay, this is really smooth on my scrap piece. That means my filler plate looked like this crazy edge. And so after about 1 inch of cutting, I said, no, this is not what I want to happen. I turned around from my pilot hole and I started going the other direction, and you can see that's how I went the rest of the cut. Okay, so I had to come back and smooth this off on the filler plate side, because the filler plate side, you know, I wanted it to be smooth, as in smooth like this. Okay, hopefully you can see this, smooth like this, not crazy fuzzy hairy. This is fiber. You know, I want this to be on my scrap piece. I want the smooth cut to be on the filler plate side. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, you know, send me a private message. I'll do a better job explaining that. Moving fast through the tools, you need a glue gun. You need some tape. Measuring tape. Measuring tape is a must-have. I want to show you really quick the filler plate. Again, it looks like it's 1 foot from the edge of the C in the Corvette to the edge of the E in the Corvette. But in reality, when you trace this out, it's actually about 13 inches to make good solid contact. I don't know if you can see this. I'm probably blocking it. It's actually about 13 inches to make good solid contact. Once you bend that wire mesh, again, there's an arc, and by arc, it's like this. Okay, we're not measuring straight line. We're measuring like this. So, you know, 12 inches flat looks great, but when you bend it, we have to go up the hill and down the hill. So to get 12 inches in a straight line from point A to point B, we need a little bit of extra material, and that's why I wish I would have bought a 14-inch plate instead of a 12-inch plate. So 13, if you look at this, 13 gets you just enough at the top of the plate to make good contact with the remaining surround on your filler plate that you want to keep. Okay, so that's my recommendation. That's why I said I would go with a 14. This is going to give you plenty of mesh to fill in that filler plate around the sides and give you material to work with. You're probably going to have to do more cutting on the mesh, but I'm telling you, it's so much more worth it. If I had it to do over again, I would definitely do that, okay? You need a drill. You need drill bits. You can pick your poison on that. Speaking of poison, I highly recommend, because you're going to cuss and you're going to get really frustrated. Highly recommend that you have some adult beverages as you go through that frustration process. And so the rest of your tools are pretty straightforward. Screwdriver, razor blade, Sharpie. I use some pruning shears because they do a little bit more damage, in some ways that my tin snips did not. And you need a couple of pliers, large and flat, short and pointy, to work with the mesh and get it bent so that you can get it into a more round shape. Scissors, definitely handy. Zip ties, because you're going to encounter a piece of wire that is attached to your bumper right at the base of the filler plate. That's what those two little gray dots are. Push them out. You'll find that wire harness going across the front of your car. Don't cut it. You can use these to zip tie that wire up out of the way when you get to it. And last but not least, I think you're going to probably need a little bit of foam tape. And I'll tell you why. Okay, I actually lined the top of my filler plate, which is in my car. That's why I'm not showing you the filler plate. But I actually lined both sides of the tab at the top of my filler plate with some of this garage weather stripping, and it's because it does not fit as tight anymore after you cut all the material away. Okay? All right, that's the parts list. I hope this has helped you. The other video gives you tips and tricks on how to glue the letters together on the back of your filler plate. Wish you the best of luck. If you like what you see or you have some questions or comments, feel free to drop that in the comment. Thanks for watching.